Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Talking with T. In this special episode, I'm joined by the sophisticated, elegant, articulate Sasha herself, and we have a conversation about the rap industry and misogyny in this industry. We also talk about the role that other female rappers play in this as well. The likes of Beyonce to the likes of Doja Cat to Cardi B. We also talk about feminism and how that plays a role. She also asks me if I'm a menimist. You'll find out in the episode what that means. And we also talk about the effect that music has on our mindset and our behavior. Excusez-moi. But yeah, guys, thank you and enjoy the episode.
I'd like to start off saying thank you for letting me join this podcast. It is an honor to be here, and hopefully it will be useful to some people.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, the pleasure's all mine, really. Thank you for coming on, and yeah, I'm sure it will be. It's a very interesting topic. It's pretty broad as well. So it's not like we're going to cover everything, but we'll cover what we can, really.
Exactly. That is all we do.
Yes. Also, you're gonna have to excuse my voice a little. I'm recovering or still going through like a cold cough situation.
Oh, could it be COVID-19?
I hope not. I hope not. Yeah.
At least if you've got it now, you've had it.
Is it? I thought that was a myth, like.
Yeah, if you have it the first time, and that's when it's dangerous. But if you have it the second time, your body doesn't go through as much shock, so it's less likely to be as severe, is what they're saying at the moment. But to be honest, they've changed it 1,000 times.
Yeah. Like a lot of things have been changed around this. It's hard to believe them on anything they say after that. But COVID, that's a topic for another day. But we can still go into that if you want.
Definitely, yeah. I've got nothing more to say about that. I'm ready to start the podcast.
Okay. Now, obviously, in this podcast, we're gonna be talking about misogyny in hip hop music or rap music.
Correct.
I don't know, like, where should we start off? Maybe with like a brief history on hip hop, or should we just go for the nitty gritty?
We could do, if you want.
Okay, so I've already done like a little brief history, like a little 20-minute podcast, just explaining it. And
I have listened a little bit to your podcast that you published on the brief history of hip hop.
Yeah, thoughts?
Yeah, very interesting, very insightful. Yeah, I agree with a lot of the things you said as to why hip hop is the way it is.
As in how it is today, like the way it is today, or
why it's the way it is.
Okay, cool. All right, fine. Then I don't think we need to do a brief history in this episode. Guys, if you want to know what I'm talking about, just listen to the previous episode. It kind of contextualizes this conversation, it attempts to, anyways. But yeah, okay, so what are we talking about when we say misogyny in rap music?
So misogyny, it's linked, I think, to the patriarchal oppression of women and the disrespect of women, that sort of thing.
And in rap or in just in music in general, it's gonna be portrayed in, say, the way women are presented, and
Exactly. Right? And I think there's a very logical structure to this, because if we start from the top, which is the macrocosm, it's the patriarchy within society, and we see that within structures within society and our day-to-day interactions. And then if we go into the hip-hop industry, there's not many women in the hip-hop industry, so people would say that creates an optimum environment for misogyny. And when we go down to the next level, all of the females that are within the hip-hop industry are like very sexualized compared to the men, who I was watching a documentary the other day, and they were comparing actors and singers like and rappers like Nicki Minaj, and comparing them to people like Biggie. Like Nicki Minaj always has the latest weaves, she always looks up to date, and Biggie is overweight, shall we say, and he can literally wear what he wants, and he's still respected as a good rapper, but women aren't afforded that kind of luxury. So they're disrespected in the sense that they are sexualized before their music is actually respected, whereas the males aren't. And then we look at the hip-hop industry in itself, and there's inbuilt misogyny in the hip-hop industry. So you see this through the lyrics. Like there's some like awful lyrics. If you just type in online, there's some horrible lyrics that I don't really even want to repeat. But an example, one of the less graphic examples, Jason Derulo's Talk Dirty to Me, something like, been around the world, don't speak the language, but you don't need explaining. That's kind of like reducing women to their body parts. So if those lyrics are infiltrated into hip-hop, then that shows within itself that the industry of hip-hop is misogynistic. So I don't think that it can ever change because it's built on misogyny.
Yeah, because that's the thing I was trying to reach a point where like just through this research I was doing, like, is there, like, could rap reach a point where it's not misogynistic, or could it go back to like its original starting point? Now, I'm not talking about rap. I'm not talking about gangster rap, but I'm talking about like in the beginning when like hip hop had that golden rule I spoke about in the previous podcast, which is like, you know, peace, love, and unity, and also calling women queens, and, you know, men.
Oh yeah, there was a time when, I'm not sure who, I think it was that guy that did the introduction song for Kenan and Kel, Gangsta's Paradise.
Oh, Coolio.
Yeah, I would say back around that time there wasn't as much misogyny.
So it kind of like, so again, like, I don't know who to blame. Like, do we blame the rappers themselves, or do we blame the industry, which has created this criteria that you have to meet in order to either get a record deal or get any sort of attention in the industry? Like, so like men, for example, like, if for you to be a proper rapper, you kind of have to like uphold these standards of being hyper masculine and being against misogynistic, and also to some level homophobic, you know. Like, if we look at like rappers like Eminem, for example. I mean, Eminem, like, I'm sure he's a lot of people's favorite, and he's also one of my favorites as well. But it's like, when you listen to his lyrics, like, they're some of the most misogynistic lyrics and homophobic lyrics.
Exactly.
Industry.
Yeah, I think that's the point I was touching on earlier. It's the misogynistic culture has been sort of embedded into the culture of hip-hop music, so it's difficult. It's got to the point where it's difficult now to reverse that, because people identify with that now, and they're not going to want to go back and listen to poetry about good things. This is what they identify with, like young kids. This is what they feel makes them feel cool. This is what they listen to with their friends, and it's what they've known for a long time. So whether it could go back to being as wholesome as it was before, I'm really not sure because of the culture of today.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't know, I doubt it will as well, but I mean, we still have, you know, like conscious rap, for example. Like that's a subgenre of rap as well. So when you have like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar,
right?
Yeah. So with them, it's like maybe in the beginning of their careers, they also kind of jumped onto the bandwagon of, you know, again, kind of perpetuating misogynistic themes, and also, I don't know, glorifying gang violence as well, or just like that bling image mentality of like, you know, to be a man, you gotta have money, you gotta have a lot of girls, you gotta influence other men in that way. But
exactly,
you can see like in their latest projects, they've toned down that side of it, and I think they've started more with like for example, J. Cole's "For Your Eyes Only." I think the entire album is about some fictional guy who is a father, and then he writes a letter to his daughter or something like that. I haven't really listened to it recently, but it's set in a positive masculine tone instead of like the usual macho masculinity. So
yeah, that is true, and I think they are prolific singers, rappers, whatever you want to call them. So while I think they get traction, I don't think they get enough. Like the likes of ASAP Rocky and people like him, so they're not as popular. So whether they'll be able to make a massive impact, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, whether they'll make a massive impact on the mainstream, I'm not sure as well. But at least that subsection kind of exists, even though it's not part of like that rap scene, or maybe it is, but it's a small part of that rap scene.
Yeah.
And again, like, not to justify any of the misogyny or the violence that's promoted. If you listen to Kendrick Lamar or artists like him, I wouldn't say they're promoting violence, but I would say they're describing a situation they lived in.
Right.
Like for example, you know, Kendrick Lamar raps about how he grew up in, you know, in this mad city, which is Compton, and obviously he was surrounded by gang violence as well. He talked about his relatives for selling drugs in front of him and something like that. So it's like he captures both sides of it. He's capturing like, oh yeah, this is the gang violence that happened, but he's also kind of bringing it back and saying, obviously that's not good, but you know.
Yeah, I think that if anything, that shows the sort of need for more diversity within rappers and the rap industry and the hip hop industry, because it always seems like they come from a background of drugs, gun violence, which is obviously that will resonate with a lot of people. So it's good to get that message out there, like that you're not alone message.
Yeah.
But maybe they could incorporate people with maybe different experiences, or maybe they could write about more positive experiences. I don't know, like the happiest day of their life, or whatever they want to, or if they've had a daughter that's been born or something. something a bit more positive, because it's like it kind of preens you for sort of that sort of negative mindset if you're someone that regularly listens to that music.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, because I went through a phase of listening to like hardcore grime music and also a little bit of trap music as well, and a lot of it is just kind of, it's negative. It's talking about street knowledge and also just how like just violence between men. Yeah. So there's not much positivity in there. Also, like we said before, I feel like rap. I want to say gangster rap, but again, we can't separate it from rap because it's part of it as well. But
definitely.
But yeah, let's talk about female artists. So, like, what role do they play in this as well?
I think they've really paved the way to sort of empower themselves and kind of reverse the effects of misogyny towards women. Like Nicki Minaj, you see her, she's a strong, confident woman. She speaks her mind. She's made songs about men, like I don't know if you're familiar with the song, but it's looking ASS and then the N-word. So that song,
yeah, I think I've heard that song.
Yeah, that song is basically just her absolutely ripping into the male gender, which is, some people might find it empowering, but in essence, what she's doing is just reversing the roles, and nothing really changing, because she's putting herself in the same position that men would be when they're rapping misogynistic lyrics about women. So in that sense, you wonder whether there can ever be equality. Why can't they rap about equality? Why does it have to be one gender overtaking the other all the time? But I don't know if you would call that empowering or whatever you think about it.
Well, a lot of other people could call it empowering because, of course, I haven't listened to every single Nicki Minaj song, but most female artists, like, they talk a lot about having their own independence, their own financial stability, and also
definitely
owning their own sexuality and their body, right?
Yeah. I think it's important that people see that if they want to sort of like sexualize themselves, that's their choice. They're allowing themselves, it's coming from them, do you know what I mean? Instead of it coming from a third party, like their own sexuality. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah, and like Nicki Minaj wasn't the first one to do it as well. Like, what's her name? Was it Little Kim? Little Kim. Like, I feel like she was the first one to embody that, like, you know, preaching independence, financial stability, and also taking control of her sexuality in a way.
Definitely. But I think hip hop also encompasses singers like Beyonce, who have also done the same thing.
Yeah, talk to me about that, about Beyonce.
Beyonce, obviously, she I feel like she's more of like independent woman, that kind of really empowering music. There's music about her telling people to get over a guy. Friendship is portrayed in her music, modesty is portrayed in her music, but then she has a sexuality which is also portrayed in the way that she wants it to be portrayed. So she's kind of the full package, really.
Yeah, she is.
But then she also does sexualize herself for the male gaze. For the purpose of the male gaze. So I feel like sometimes think there are rules in the industry of what you can and can't do and what will work and what will not, because we see a pattern throughout hip hop.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad, really, but
what's this pattern?
So this pattern, like, so all of the females are always beautiful from head to toe, perfect, always very sexualized. It's always that sort of pattern. And I don't think this is a bit of a digression, but they are almost always light-skinned. So there's that pattern of what needs to be in place to be a successful hip-hop artist.
But would you say that's a recent development, or would you say it's always been like that? Like, you know,
honestly, I think I can only speak for my generation, but that's all I've ever known it to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're kind of reproducing the same image. So, what's her name? Cardi B, Azalea, not Azalea. What's her? Iggy Azalea.
Mm-hmm.
They've all kind of got the same body type, the same attitude, the same rap, the same kind of genre of rap. So it's like a copy and paste, really.
Yeah. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of female rappers, but I do listen to Lauryn Hill. She was, I mean, she still is. She's like one of the godmothers or in the hip hop and rap music industry. But yeah, there has been like this. I don't know if it's responding to the times we're living in, but there's been this change in it. Like in rap and female rappers, like it started off with like Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper, MC Light, all of them, like they were speaking out against misogyny in hip hop as well. Queen Latifah in that same Unity, she was like, she was calling out the male rapper. She's like, yo, who are you calling the B word? This and that, And then I guess I know. I guess it kind of changed now. So now, like you said, there's almost this pressure for female artists to also conform to this image of of kind of trying to please the male gaze again. Like
exactly. And I feel like a lot of people, especially ones that are born at a later time, they don't even know Queen Latifah or Lauryn Hill and what impact they had back in their time. So it's kind of like they never existed. So in that sense, it's like, what's sort of the point of even going back and mentioning them, because they don't mean anything to the people of later generations.
Yeah, that's true. Because they haven't been exposed to it. That's why. Like that, they've only been exposed to the new stuff. Then Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
I'm sure there are rappers out there that are trying to make it that have the same sort of ideas or similar ideas as Queen Latifah and Lauryn Hill, but they're just not getting the traction that they need to be successful, because that's not the in thing.
So yeah, they're not in the mainstream. That's the thing. They're not in the mainstream. Like we have like No Name, she's one of them. And again, like not everyone knows who No Name is. I didn't even know who she was until she when was this? I think it was a month ago or something. She kind of went at Jacob.
Is this Normani?
Is that how you pronounce the name? I was calling her No Name.
Oh, I don't know her either.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, she's like, I think she's an activist, so she kind of incorporates that into her music and her art. But she was talking, I don't know, she was acting J. Cole for some reason, and that's how I came into. I guess that's how I discovered her through that, because I listened to J. Cole, and then
a similar situation with Azalea Banks. Like, she gained the most traction when she was getting involved in Twitter wars with anyone she could find.
Is it?
So it's that sort of the people that aren't seen as being able to join the mainstream are always sort of somehow caught up in these kinds of what's the word, entanglements.
Oh God, entanglements. Yeah.
And that's how they gain popularity, but it's not good popularity or any popularity that all sell the music.
Well, it's that thing again, isn't it? Like, but I mean, is that what it takes now? Like, you have to be almost like in competition with someone for you to get recognized.
I definitely think that is true, because Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, you've seen on the internet, they've been having fights, they've been shouting at each other. Cardi B's literally charged at her. All of it gains media attention, and I think, I don't know, there's some sort of an interest in seeing people at loggerheads with each other. It's just entertaining. So I think that is what the hip hop and rap industry is kind of pushing, just so that they can get more attention.
I mean, so at the end of the day, it really is just about entertainment, really, isn't it? Just as long as it's entertaining, then boom, just put it out there. As long as
That is quite true.
Put it out there. But
that is quite true, because if you've heard about the recent Doja Cat, the upcoming of Doja Cat, I don't personally see anything special with her singing, but she's been quite controversial, so I think that's gotten her a lot of attention.
Yeah.
As well, so.
Wait, was this the thing about her being in a chat room with supremacists?
Just comments she's made about being black and how she doesn't want to be black and things of that nature.
What do you think about that? Do you think, like for me, when I heard that, I didn't feel any. I mean, some people were angry at her. I kind of felt sorry for her.
I felt sorry for her as well. I think it was coming from a place of deep insecurity.
Yeah. Like a lot of people do get insecure like her, and I don't know how to phrase this. Like we shouldn't really expect anything from her in that way.
She is a role model because she's in the public eye. So if people see that that's how she views herself, she's going to influence people who listen to her music to sort of second guess how they feel about themselves. Because she has a massive following, and people that listen to fans and fangirls and fanboys, they literally just want to embody that person. Every single piece of music, every single thing they do, there are people out there like that just want to worship celebrities. So how would she be affecting those people, especially her biracial and black audiences? How would she be affecting those people is sort of something that needs to be thought about. That's why I kind of think cancel culture exists, sort of like it can be helpful sometimes just to, you know, sometimes like there is toxicity, there's a lot of toxicity within the media, so maybe cancel culture could be a good thing. It's not always as bad as people make out, but then obviously you have the argument of cancel culture doesn't teach people anything. But then again, why should they be taught? Like, how did she not know like the things that she was saying would be taken offensively at her age? But I don't know what was going through her head. I can't speak for her. There's that side of it too.
Yeah. I mean, Cancel culture, I don't know. Cancel culture is, like you said, it doesn't really teach anyone anything. So I think we could take a better approach to it, like just analyzing the situation and then just explaining to people that there are other options, there are other ways to view these things.
Yeah.
And just kind of being conscious about the things we are consuming. Because again, like say for example, so Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion made that new song, WAP. Like there's been like different views on it. So some people are saying yes, like it's empowering because they're taking charge of their sexuality, their bodies, their whatnot, and they're having fun. And then others are like, yeah, but my children are watching this, and what are they supposed to think? This is what they have to live up to, or this is what it means to be successful. So
yeah, but I do think as well, Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion are independent artists, so it's up to sort of parents to control what their children see and what their children do not see. So you can't blame artists that are expressing themselves and making music they want to make for influencing your child, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I kind of do, but I don't think parents really control what their children are seeing nowadays. Like,
I think if they wanted to, they could.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
To some extent.
Of course, it won't be 100%, but yeah, to some extent, they can be mindful about what their kids are watching.
So they're grown women. Do you know what I mean? They're entitled to make whatever music they want to make, I guess. Yeah. I don't think their target audience was young girls anyway. Judging by the content of their songs, I don't think their target audience was young girls.
That's another good point. Like you can say the same thing about like Beyonce's target audience isn't the same as Cardi B's target audience.
Yeah, and the same with Doja Cat. Her songs are a lot more. She has got some explicit songs, but a lot of her songs go viral on TikTok, which is mainly used by preteens and people in their early teens. So her have to sort of cater a bit more to their audiences, and also the nature of her music videos is quite like cartoonish and would appeal to a younger audience. So I think when you look at it like that, it's clear what the target audience is and sort of what's expected of those types of people and those types of artists.
And it just goes to show what a huge impact that social media has as well, to like introducing us to these kind of these types of content.
Yeah. I definitely think there needs to be, I digress, but I definitely think there needs to be more regulations on the internet in general.
I don't know. What do you mean by that?
Just more regulations of content, like, I don't think anyone should be able to click on WAP and listen and be able to listen to it.
Okay. Is it? So what, like set? I'm pretty sure there's already like age restrictions, isn't there?
I'm pretty sure if you go on YouTube and type in WAP, the song lyrics will come up.
Oh, the song lyrics will come up.
And the music video, I'm pretty sure. It did the same with Anaconda. So
I mean, it's funny that they've removed tip drill from YouTube as well.
They've removed what?
Tip drill. Or at least the explicit version of tip drill. It was that song by Nelly. Do you remember it?
No.
Oh my days. So Nelly made this song called Tip Drill, and it's just it's like Anaconda and WAP mixed together, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, even that, like going back to the misogyny and hip hop music, like that's a good example as well. And people forget this, but Nelly, he's got his own drink called Pimp Juice. And the thing is, in the song, he also says some pretty misogynistic stuff, like it must be your ASS because it's not your face. Like that's pretty misogynistic. Okay. Here's another thing I was wondering. I'm guessing you're a feminist, right?
Definitely.
What does that mean to you? Like, what does it mean for you to be a feminist?
I think but I think people do overcomplicate it. It's basically just women and men should be equal and they should have equal opportunities.
Okay.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah, basically the same thing. Equality between males and females,
Would you say you believed in Menimism?
What's that?
It's the opposite of, well, it's similar to feminism, but males believe, I think it's to do with males believing they don't have equal opportunities with women, and that females are constantly attacking them in that sense. Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's prolific.
Yeah.
He's
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a prolific clinical psychologist. He's had a lot of works, and he makes quite good points about the fact that men are overrepresented in places like prison, criminal settings, and stuff like that. So he was like, do you want to equalize that as well? Which is probably what a Meninist would say, or what the points that a Meninist would point out. So
okay, all right, interesting. I think, is it the men's right movement?
Yeah, definitely.
Is that it? Yeah, I've heard of that, but the only thing I agree with them about is like divorce laws, and also some the family court system as well. So with those issues, I agree with, and also that's a good point as well. Like a lot of feminists want equality, but they want only the best side of equality. So they want more CEOs, they want more people in positions of power, but it's also like, do you want more, like, like Jordan Peterson says, you want more people, an equal amount of women in prison? Do you also want an equal amount of females, working as, garbage collectors? Like, so again, it depends what you mean by equality, right?
Definitely, yeah. Depends on your view on what equality is.
But yeah, I don't think I'm a what was it? Menimism?
I don't know if it's a official term.
I don't think so. I think it's probably like a small
Twitter kind of trend.
Yeah, because I think that the men's rights movement is more I guess more popular than Menimists. But yeah, what was I going with this? Yeah, so I was just thinking, like, can you be a feminist and still enjoy like rap music?
Oh, can you be a feminist and still enjoy rap music? It depends what kind of rap music you're listening to, I guess. There is rap music that empowers women. But then again, people say that it's just a song, it doesn't affect you. People know that in real life that's wrong. So listening to a song because you enjoy the rhythm doesn't really affect your what's the word? Your eligibility as a feminist.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, there has been studies from psychologists that show male participants who listen to derogatory and aggressive lyrics about women were more likely to present with more aggressive behaviors towards women. So people say, oh, it doesn't affect me. This isn't, I know the difference between reality and non-reality. But I think whilst your conscious mind knows what reality is and non-reality, I don't think your brain actually does. I don't remember who said it, but someone said that your brain can't tell. Like, if you think a thought in your head, your brain can't tell whether it's, or if you think a scenario in your head, your brain can't tell whether it's real or or simulacrum. So
yeah, that's interesting. Like even like I think that's how people have panic disorders as well. Like they imagine the worst situation in their head and then their body reacts.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I haven't read anything about the effects of violent music on people's behaviors, but it definitely primes you for it. Isn't it? Like you're more like I reckon you're more likely to get in a fight after you listen to gang music and then go into a club than say if you listen to something relaxing and then go into the club. So it's almost like
that's the technique they use in shopping malls. They use slower music so that you shop slower or something, end up buying more. But that study's by Fischer and Greitemeyer, if anybody wants to look it up.
Cool. Yeah, send me the link to it and then I'll add it into the description.
Definitely, we'll do that.
Cool. Thank you. But yeah, but I reckon that's not a large effect. I reckon they didn't find that large of an effect. Like, is it? Again, I'm just guessing. I haven't seen the study, but it reminds me of what they were saying about violent video games. Like whether violent video games cause kids to become more aggressive. From what I remember, what they found was that the effect was short term. So like the kids, so after playing a violent video game, they did like have like this short period of showing behaviors that can be deemed as aggressive, but in the long term that didn't last. And also as well, it's about the person as well and how susceptible they are.
That is true. But if you're like, because there's constantly new rap, hip hop music coming out. So if you're a feminist who listens to, for example, rap music, then that's when you'll see that. Sorry, there's people in the background talking. Like, that's when you see that it's sort of being embedded into your subconscious. I don't know if you, as a feminist, your views will change.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting because again, like you never know what your subconscious mind is processing.
Or maybe you'll just see it reflected in your behavior. Like you'll start agreeing to things or doing things that go against feminism, and you don't really understand why, but it could be the root of it could be those music lyrics.
Yeah, it could. Have you had any experience like that?
No, I don't really listen to rap music that much, especially not misogynistic rap music.
Yeah.
So if I listen to like drill or stuff, that stuff's all about. Well, it can be misogynistic, but I don't listen to a lot of it. So
what do you listen to?
I'm one of those people, one or two songs here and there that get popular I will listen to, but mostly I just listen to old R&B songs. So no misogyny here. No misogyny lyrics here. What about you? Do you think you've ever been affected by misogynistic rap lyrics?
Let me see. Not I can't really specify anything. Let me see. I think so. Yeah, I think I have been affected by misogynistic lyrics or music. I think just in the way, like I how do I explain it? It kind of warped my way of thinking about women.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like again, like I don't know, like it changed the way I thought about women, and also just like my attraction towards women as well. So I started leaning towards the body types that were being displayed in the music, and also the type of women that were being talked about.
Right.
Right. So in that way, it kind of affected me.
So what women were those?
You know, big, what's this? I don't want to swear, but big, booty is not a swear word.
No, it's not.
Yeah, there you go. Big booties and, big features, that type of woman. Also with, the ghetto attitude as well.
All right. So when did you realize that this isn't what is supposed to be and reverse that behavior? Or when did you become conscious that that was happening?
It was during my first year at university. That's when I became conscious that it was happening. And then that's when I started listening to more kind of conscious rap, and also going back to the 90s type of rap as well. And I started consuming less of this. Like, let's just say Eminem was not on my listening list for a while, but I'm back to listening to him. But that's another story for another day. And also just the girls I was dating as well.
Right.
Yeah, some of them did point that out, like, because I like having these conversations, like, how does this affect you in this way, and all of that. And they also kind of opened my eyes to it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just through that, like, the more I started listening, the more I started being mindful of what I was listening to, and also just the conversations I was having with the girls as well. And what was it? What was your question again? What was your other question?
When did you become conscious of?
Okay. There wasn't an exact date, but it was during that period. And even now as well, like, I'm still discovering, like, I don't think the process is over just yet. I'm still discovering, like, ways in which music affects us, especially if we listen to it every single day.
Exactly.
And, like, you know what I mean? So that does have an effect on your behavior and your attitudes towards others.
Yeah, like it's the saying, you are what you repeatedly do. And I think as well that it's good that you took a step back and wanted to change, because there'll be people who recognize that the influence that this type of music is having on people, and they will just not care, not want to do anything, and would rather maintain their status. It's more important for them to maintain the status that they receive by treating women and thinking about women in that way than it is to actually change and respect women and change that narrative that is portrayed and that perpetuates toxic masculinity and patriarchal oppression.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I'm glad there are, like, different artists out there who kind of embody the positive side of it.
Definitely.
So again, if people do want to change, like, don't get me wrong, you can still enjoy whatever music you want to. But if you want to see another different side of it, there's always other artists that you can listen to as well.
Definitely. I think artists do need a bit more exposure though, because you can't look for something if you don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
So that's one step that needs to be taken in the rap industry, I think.
More exposure.
Yeah, more exposure of different artists, but then again, it's a private business, isn't it? So I don't think they can make anyone produce anything unless they incorporate it into the law, which they won't really do, will they? Because the rap industry is probably making the American government, and the drill scene is probably making the UK government a lot of money. So I don't think it's on their top list of priorities. Like, even Kanye West is siding with Trump, and he's even promoting Trump. So yeah, the hip-hop industry. It's all...
You know who I blame for that? I blame Lauryn Hill. Okay, because as soon as she stopped making music, Kanye West went on this side thing, and he's the West we have now, instead of the old Kanye West who was talking about, George Bush doesn't care about black people. Kanye West, but whatever. It is what it is,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so I feel, okay, what have we talked about? We've talked about some empowering female artists. We've talked about the poison that is misogyny in hip-hop music, and the obvious pain that this has caused to women, as well as to the image of women as well. What brings joy in your life, Sasha?
What brings joy?
Yeah, like what things bring joy in your life? Like what do you do? Or is it just like, okay, I'll go first. For me, what brings joy in my life is learning new things, spending time with my friends, my family, talking to people like you. I always enjoy having these conversations. Yeah, music, movies. But what about you? What brings joy in your life?
I would say I do love exercising, meditation, yoga, all those things. And I really like being productive. And have you heard of Keystone Habits?
What's that?
Keystone Habits, they're basically just good habits that trigger you to do other good habits. So exercise is one of them. And if I spend a day and I've exercised on that day, I know that'll be more productive for the rest of the day. And I like that of just completing things and getting things done. And that's really nice. That's what makes me happy.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I understand what you mean by Keystone Habits. So for me, if I don't meditate in the morning, it's gonna take me a long time to wake up, to fully wake up and just do productive things as well. Okay, so which female artists would you recommend others listen to?
Oh, which female artists would I recommend others listen to? That is a good question. I quite like for me, I like the old R&B artists. So Anne-Marie, Cassie,
Okay.
J-Lo, Beyonce. I think they all preach nice, good messages about women and being independent and being confident in themselves, owning everything that they have, not letting anyone else dictate to them how they should be, and knowing when someone's done wrong by them and saying, no, you are not allowed to do that to me. That's what their lyrics portray. I think it sends out a pretty good message to young girls in that way. So I would definitely recommend those kinds of old, sort of early 2000s artists, and plus their music is very good. So what about you?
Well, like I said before, I don't really listen to a lot of female artists, but who would I recommend? I'd recommend Lauryn Hill. Everyone just listen to Lauryn Hill,
Definitely will try that. I did like her on Sister Act.
Yeah. she was dope with that movie. Yeah, okay, fine. Lauryn Hill, who else would I recommend? Missy Elliott. I always enjoy just watching her music videos. She's just hella creative with her style.
I quite like her collabs with Sierra as well.
Yeah.
Always good.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those two are the only ones I can recommend at the moment. Or if you want to go old school, you guys can also go to Queen Latifah and Salt-N-Pepa.
Yeah. I think that's a bit too old school for me. But I would give it a try. Why not?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it really. Thank you for coming on, Sasha. This has been This has been a good podcast.
I
enjoyed talking to you. Sorry?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure. And hopefully we can have you on again in the future.
Hopefully.
It'll be good to get more of your insights, more of your lucid insights into this.
Hopefully by then I'll be more learned and educated.
Yep, hopefully everyone is as well. And hopefully people have learned something from this podcast as well.
Definitely.